Dhyrbfyty. This is a name that a lot of Roblox players might recognize. Why? Dhyr was the ex-Roblox girlfriend of famous Roblox YouTuber Flamingo. This relationship is very popular within Flamingo's fanbase, with people making fan art, games, and even animations dedicated to it. However, there are two things that people were wondering. Who is Dhyrbfyty and why was the account banned? Well, we now have the answer to both questions. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. In order for this video to make sense, we need to go over what the situation is even about. Dhyrbfyty joined Roblox on February 2nd, 2008, which makes the account over 14 years old. Expect this to change as time goes on. Later that year, Dhyr would end up meeting a user known as Streety. The two talked and soon became close friends. One day, Streety asked Dhyr if she could be his girlfriend. However, Dhyr would reply with, "I don't know, cause Billbone is my boyfriend." Regardless, the two of them would continue talking for a while. However, this would end up stopping and Streety and Dhyr would soon go their separate ways. Fast forward to 2018 and Streety, now known as Flamingo, would mention Dhyrbfyty in several of his videos. This caused lots of viewers to become dedicated to Flamingo and Dhyr's relationship. A lot of fan content would be created, with some of them accumulating millions of views. All of this showed the extent of Dhyrbfyty's popularity. Everything would go smoothly until January of 2020.
Banned? Alright, click! No! My love! See, look!
During this month, it would be revealed that Dhyr's Roblox account had been terminated. Since no one knew why this happened, fans began a search for the reason behind the termination. Lots of theories, videos, and even wiki pages were created to help aid in the search. While this was happening, fans began to search for another thing: the identity of the person behind Dhyrbfyty. A lot of leads were discovered, but almost all of them led to dead ends. There were two users that had gotten away with pretending to be Dhyr, but both were eventually exposed. Moving into 2022, the search had become dormant. No new leads were discovered and fan activity had died down. However, this would all soon change. In late January of 2022, someone came forward and contacted various individuals explaining who they are. Proof was provided and questions were answered. What does this have to do with the Dhyrbfyty situation? Well, the person that came forward was Dhyrbfyty themselves. Yeah, it seems crazy, but hear me out. Dhyr messaged me and a few friends about them being the real deal. We were initially skeptical, but Dhyr soon provided proof of ownership, explained their account history, and even logged into Dhyrbfyty. By the way, they screen shared themselves doing the latter. After some discussion and even more proof being provided, we were convinced. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that we found Dhyrbfyty. Believe it or not, Dhyr got interviewed by Neekijou, one of the people that Dhyr contacted. Some questions about the account were answered, which helped bring closure to the situation. Here is a small clip of the interview.
Introduce yourself and tell the viewer what you would want them to know.
Hi, so, this is really weird for me since I know people don't really have a reason to believe me, but I'll start off by saying that for privacy reasons, I won't be using my name, so people can just know me as Dhyrbfyty or Dhyr for short. I also accept NA for non-applicable. There's really not much else to introduce. I mean, I'm a 22-year-old average, boring American who turned out to accidentally become Roblox famous. Like, as my best friend puts it, it's kind of like a filler arc in my life.
All right. How old were you whenever you created DHYR?
I made the account when I was 7 years old, just a few months away from turning 8. But I stopped using the account by the time I was 9 because it was the very first one I made, and I didn't like the username. Like, I'm pretty sure this was before you could change it at all. So, like, I didn't want to keep playing the game with a key smash. So, eventually I settled on my primary account, and I've been using it ever since.
All right. When did you figure out about the popularity surrounding the account, and what was your reaction?
I found out about all of this, like even including Albert's existence, January 13th, I think, of this year. My friend and my brother were like laughing at old like Roblox screenshots, and one of them listed DHYR as my alt account. So they Googled it out of curiosity and found like everything, the whole fandom, the Albert Stuffs wiki, the like all the videos and everything, and they freaked out. And they called me later that day and explained everything. And honestly, I didn't actually believe that they were talking about me, like that I could actually be DHYR until they showed me the wikis and the videos listing like not just my information but my family's information, and that like sold it for me. So obviously I freaked out a bit too. I was like anxious, confused, but I was a bit entertained, honestly, just a little bit. So I got into contact with the YouTuber Bryan Cerros, who's also an admin of the Albert Stuffs wiki, and another person by the name of Perception, and my brother and them helped take down a lot of information and stuff. And honestly, doing damage control for my privacy was the biggest thing on my mind before I was even able to begin to process like what I had just discovered. So I didn't really know how I felt. Everyone was more stressed than I was.
If you want to watch the full interview, it'll be linked in the description below. There are a couple things that need to be cleared up though. First, a lot of you might be asking for DHYR's real name, which is understandable. However, DHYR themselves requested that their identity be kept private. Therefore, it is advised to respect DHYR's wishes. Also, a majority of you are probably questioning why DHYR is a male. It's pretty simple. DHYR is no longer female. Because of this, please refer to them as he, him. Finally, it is confirmed that the Zombie Invader 1234 account never belonged to DHYR. It's unknown where this assumption came from, but now it has been busted and can be put to rest.
Another thing I should say is that like since there's debates about like my alt accounts, Chloe342 was me, not my sister, and the Zombie Invader account never belonged to me. And Albert and I never dated. That's about all.
With the identity of DHYR BFY2Y being found, the account's termination reason was also discovered. After all, this entire search was based around finding out why DHYR BFY2Y's Roblox account got terminated. So, why was DHYR BFY2Y terminated?
It's the ban message. Compromised on 1/19/2020.
The account was closed as compromised. If you theorized that DHYR BFY2Y got compromised, congratulations. As a result of this, every other theory about DHYR BFY2Y's termination is wrong. To be honest, this termination reason was pretty expected. Considering the size of Flamingo's fanbase, it's reasonable to assume that a good bunch of them would try and hack DHYR's account. Like I said, it also debunks any other theories regarding why it was terminated. Anyway, that part of the mystery is solved and can now be put to rest. For the rest of this video, I'm just gonna give some final thoughts on this entire situation. It's been such a wild ride, and to know that we finally found DHYR BFY2Y, it means a lot. Knowing where the journey started, with Flamingo making a video talking about the account's termination, it feels great to finally put this entire case to rest. One thing that surprised me was just how popular Dhyrbfyty actually was. Throughout the time between the account's termination and this video going out, a lot of fan content was released. As mentioned earlier, some of this includes videos, fan art, and even wiki pages. All of these showed the dedication Flamingo fans had towards this entire situation. Of course, this was partly because of how much Albert/Flamingo mentioned Dhyr. Still, the search for Dhyrbfyty is an example of how dedicated Flamingo's fanbase can be. Of course, there are a few people that I want to thank for helping out with all of this. First off, I want to thank my friend Perception. He helped gather evidence to finally prove why Dhyrbfyty got terminated, as well as reaching out to people that had contact with Albert. From the beginning, he was willing to look into the case and brought his A game. Another person that I want to thank is my friend neekijou. Nico, the name he goes by, was a big help in compiling everything that was found and putting it together into a great final product. What do I mean by this? Nico uploaded a video summarizing the entire search and it's really well made. It helped to influence the production of this video. Go check out Nico's video after watching this one. neekijou also got to interview Dhyr and ask them questions regarding the situation. He basically compiled everything and presented it in a great way. Finally, I would like to thank Dhyrbfyty themselves. Without him, this entire search would still be ongoing. Dhyr also debunked a lot of theories and facts about their former Roblox account. It helped prevent potential misinformation from spreading. Anyway, with everything being said, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.